Good morning, everyone. Nice to see you all. You're going to have to sing extra loud because the folks outside are not going to hear what I have to say, and when comes time in the service, they won't know exactly what's going on. But in the second page of the order of celebration, under the anthem, you'll see some italicized words. They are the refrain to you to rise as you are able and join in the singing of our opening processional hymn this morning for the animals, all creatures of the earth and sky. The lyrics will be in front of you.
And let the animal procession begin. All creatures of the earth and sky, come, kindred, lift your voices high. Alleluia, alleluia. Bright burning sun with golden beam, soft shining moon with silver gleam. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. Buenos días y bienvenidos. It is a wonderful day here at Cedar Lane Unitarian Universalist Church, a liberal religious community where love works. I'm the Reverend Katie Romano Griffin, and I am privileged to serve this congregation as your assistant minister. And I'm so glad that we are here and together on this very cold morning with our warm hearts. Please know that whoever you are, wherever you are from, whomever you love, wherever you are on this life's journey, and whatever your beliefs, life circumstance, gender identity, or immigration status, you are welcome here. I want to issue a special welcome to those joining our service online, whether in the moment or catching up with us later. We are streamed across the globe for members who travel for work or sometimes for joy. We are in hospital rooms and at hospice bedsides. Please greet our friends who are seeing us online.
If you are new to Cedar Lane, we have a small gift for you. Please raise your hand if you are comfortable doing so, and keep it raised for a moment so our ushers can find you. All are invited to stay after the service to enjoy coffee and conversation. If visitors choose to use a yellow mug, our members and friends will be sure to greet you. I draw your attention to the announcement page included as an insert in your order of celebration. Just a few highlights. Today's flowers are in memory of Jeff Leonard, whose memorial service will be held this afternoon at 2:30, not 3 as in the program. And if you are looking for ways to become more involved at Cedar Lane, please join us at the engagement fair in the courtyard after the service. And this Friday, from 6 to 7:30, there's trunk or treating in the parking lot here at Cedar Lane. And then from 7:30 to 9 is a spooktacular concert.
Yes, and you'll all want to stay seated for the postlude because there's going to be a special song that will be a teaser for this Friday night's concert. So know that we will be recessing out with all of our friends after the postlude today. Our lay pastoral visitors work closely with the ministers to support the pastoral ministry of this congregation. If you have a pastoral need or concern, Janelle Stewart, one of our lay pastoral visitors, will be available at the Joys and Sorrows table throughout the service and after service. I invite you in great Cedar Lane fashion to enthusiastically greet your neighbors, whether they are furred, feathered, scaled, or skinned. Come, come, whoever you are. Whether you bark or hiss.
Good timing.
Come, come. Come, let us begin our worship with the words of Gary Kowalski.
We give thanks for the earth and its creatures and are grateful from A to Z.
For alligators, apricots, acorns, and apple trees.
For bumblebees, bananas, blueberries, and beagles.
Coconuts, crawdads, cornfields and coffee, daisies, elephants, and flying fish.
For groundhogs, glaciers, and grasslands, hippos and hazelnuts, icicles and iguanas.
For juniper, jackrabbits, and June bugs, kudzu and kangaroos, lightning bugs, and licorice.
For mountains and milkweed and mistletoe, narwhals and nasturtiums, otters and ocelots.
for peonies and persimmons and polar bears, quahogs and Queen Anne's lace.
For raspberries and roses, salmon and sassafras, tornadoes and tulip wood.
Urchins and valleys and waterfalls, yaks and yams and yogurt.
We are grateful, good earth, not least of all for zinnias, zucchini, and zebras.
And for the alphabet of wonderful things that are as simple as ABC. We are grateful. Come, let us worship.
As Shira Ehrlich comes forward to light our chalice, symbol of our shared faith, please rise in body and or spirit to read our chalice lighting words, printed in your order of celebration and projected on the screen. We kindle the chalice to seek the truth, to grow in love, to join in service, to celebrate life's beauty and find healing for its pain, to honor our kinship with each other and with the animals, and to create a more compassionate world.
So beautiful. Our furred, our feathered, our scaled, and our skinned friends are not possessions to be owned. They are family members. And there's something else too. They're great teachers about life, about hope. They are resident theologians in our home that can make space to help us understand that there is something larger holding us. The core of our service today is a book that was written by the Reverend Shel Redfern about something unexpected that happened in her life. Lily was so young, just 9 months old when it happened. We'd been talking about getting her fixed for quite some time, and then, well, it was too late. I considered having her spayed, knowing of the kitty overpopulation problem, but just couldn't do it. I adore Lily and knew I would love any extension of her beautiful self. I trusted that we'd find great homes for the kittens, or, with any luck, there'd be one or two so we could keep them all, and honestly, I wished for the latter. As it turned out, the intermingling of each of their lives with my own proved to be a far greater gift than any I had known. In the 8 short weeks we spent together, they taught me the truth of what life is really about. As we enter this time of our community joys and sorrows, with all of our families present, either in our hearts or physically with us, let us hold this space together. Come, wanderer, come, worshiper, come with your joys, your broken heart, your wholeness, and your loneliness. We gather as a single community in sacred space to meet the wonders and challenges life offers us all. Let us enter this time to gather strength and inspiration as we bear witness to the joys and sorrows in our community. When I hold up my arms, I invite you to say, we hold you in our hearts in whatever way is most comfortable for you. If you're living through the small and extraordinary milestones of life, we hold you in our hearts. If you're living through the unexpected in your life, we hold you in our hearts. If parenting is your primary spiritual practice, we hold you in our hearts. If you live with or care for someone with grief or chronic pain, we hold you in our hearts. If you are struggling with illnesses seen and unseen, with mental illness or addictions, we hold you in our hearts. If you have suffered abuse or injustice, we hold you in our hearts. As we move into this time of silence, holding the joys and sorrows of this community and the greater world, please know that if you are grieving the loss of a loved one or commemorating the anniversary of a loss, you're invited to rise in mourning or memory. Let us hold the silence together. Spirit of life and love, moving in, as, and through us and all living beings. Hold us in the trying times of our lives. Lift us with joy when we are already joyful, and may you always bring us closer to others. May all hearts be restored and all hearts be lifted. May it be so. Amen.
Hatred, where there is injury, where there is discord, where there is doubt. sadness.
Gestation. It's a funny thing when change is going on. So often we can't see it on the surface, but we can feel it deep inside. Such was the case with Lily. On the outside, she played, ate, slept, and acted all things Lily. While inside, miracles were happening. Life was seeking fuller, freer expression by means of this beautiful creature. And whether ready or not, wanted or not, the changes were happening and a new way of being would emerge.
Preparation. In the same way that Lily's body was changing on the inside, our world was changing on the outside. We prepared for the arrival of the kittens by putting some old towels in a box and placing the box where usually Lily hung out. She ignored it at first, this place of safety and comfort for her kittens, but I continued to drop her inside of it from time to time, knowing she would figure it out eventually. I couldn't help but wonder what safe places I might have unknowingly been dropped into from time to time.
Getting crowded. Days and weeks passed and Lily's belly grew. I loved to put my hand on her tummy and feel the wee ones move and kick and bustle. As the time for their birth approached, Lily started to slow down. The kicking and bustling, though, very much present, took on a different tenor. It was getting crowded in there, very crowded. It almost felt like in their growing, the kittens were crowding themselves right out of the world of Lily's womb and into the world of form. But that was okay. In fact, it was great. Our world was ready and waiting for them.
Whether we are birthing a new project or giving life, birth is messy. Finally, their appearance day arrived. Both Lily and I were more than ready. She'd been sleeping quite a bit, hardly moving for the burden she carried quite low to the ground. The evening of their birth, she was extremely restless. Change tends to bring restlessness as its companion, doesn't it? I finally drifted to sleep that evening, but woke at 5 a.m. with a start. Lily was not on the bed, so I rushed to my office where I'd placed the birthing box, hoping to find her there. And find her I did. She was exhausted, barely keeping her eyes open, and beside her were 5 beautiful, healthy kittens. She'd taken this difficult journey alone, as we often must, without making a single peep. What a strong soul she is.
How did we get to this place where we could look in each other's face and see anything but beauty and understanding? I want to know who you are and face the suffering that keeps us far apart.
I can never truly see the world through your eyes or take away your pain, but I'm listening, and I'm hoping you can hear me saying, you are my neighbor, you are beloved, you are worth seeing for who you are. You are my neighbor, you are beloved, you are worth seeing for who you are. I'm here, I'm here listening with you. Break bread with me, make peace with me, speak the truth with me, begin again with me, relate with me, create with me, be the change with me that keeps our children safe and free. There are no other people's heartaches. There are no other people's injuries. There are no other people's children in this world. See what is unseen. What is unspoken. Believe that there's no wall between our beating hearts. Say it with me. You are my neighbor, you are beloved, you are worth seeing for who you are. You are my neighbor, you are beloved, you are worth seeing for who you are. I'm here, I'm here listening with you. Hold hands with me. You are my neighbor. You are beloved. With me. Oh, and take a chance with me. Be home with me. You are my neighbor. You are beloved. Keeps our children safe and free. Oh,
a chance with me. Oh, you are my neighbor. You are beloved. Oh, wake and live courageously. There are no other people's heartaches. There are no other people's injuries. There are no other people's children in this world.
The illusion of separateness. Working was out of the question that first day. Working with animals can be a little challenging. I tried, I did, but a miracle had happened at the foot of my desk. Lily would not leave the box to eat or drink all day. Finally, late into the evening, I coaxed her out with some canned food. She and I sat right next to the box and watched the babies cry out for their mother. They did not know we were both right there, watching over them the whole time. They were safe and loved.
The reality of connectedness. On the first night after Lily left the box, the kittens crawled around, weakly mewing their little hearts out. They shook and crawled and searched for something they didn't really know or understand. And then suddenly it happened. They found each other. First 2, then 3, then all 5 became a fuzzy feline heap, most similar to what it must have looked like inside Lily's belly. How wonderful it must have been to realize they were not alone after all. Maybe some of us felt that way when we first walked through these doors. Watching them brought the same realization to me. I am not alone, never have been, never will be. I suddenly realized there's someone, something just outside my box, watching over me, and inside the box are my companions. I just need to reach out and find them right there.
Experiencing the world in a new way. For the first few days, the kittens ate, slept, and grew. Their world was warm, furry, food-filled, sounds perfect to me, and dark. Then one morning, it happened. They opened their eyes. How wonderful it had to be moving from a world of darkness to a world of color and shape and light. Watching them experience sight for the first time, I realized that before today, they didn't even know they had eyes, much less that they had the capacity to see. I wondered what tools were in my box that I had yet to discover and what light and joy they might bring.
Learning to walk. I hadn't really noticed how immobile the kittens were until they started to move. Being able to see had a great side effect. It gave them a sense of purpose, allowing them to connect and interact in a whole new way. It didn't take long at all for all of them to learn how to stand, sort of. They were shaky at best for the first few days, but strength built in their newly discovered muscles, and they were walking, then running, then sitting, then swatting. And from that point forward, the fun never stopped.
The gift of play. Life in the box got very hectic. There was bouncing and rolling and romping and swatting of all kinds. I continued to try to work, but really it was difficult. They were stinking hilarious. I kept telling myself I couldn't get attached to them, that they were just here for a very short while. But I couldn't help it.
The purpose of this congregation is to encourage all who gather here to grow, to become more generous in spirit and in action, not just when we are inside our box, but we are encouraged to look outside of our personal boxes, of the congregational box, and to reach out into the world with our generous spirits and with our Unitarian Universalist values and principles. As we enter this time of generosity in our service, we get to give and receive an offering that allows us to practice that all-important generosity of spirit, an offering that will support this self-supporting congregation and its many ministries that serve us personally, as a congregation, and beyond these walls. Today's offering will now be gratefully received.
There's more to life than this box. The cream-colored kitty had been watching Lily leap over the top of the box for several days, and I knew what was coming. One day, just after Lily had left the box, the cream-colored kitty eyed the top of the edge and jumped, and jumped, and jumped, and jumped, until finally just one of her little claws caught on top, and that was enough. Soon she was able to get her second claw up there and pull herself up to look over the edge. Wow! There was a whole new world, and my camera, of course, just outside the box. Holy smokes. Well, all that ruckus woke up several of the other kitties, and in no time, they were climbing on top of each other and jumping and reaching for what lay just beyond the field of their vision, the edge of the box, the edge of life as they knew it.
Freedom found. There was no use trying to contain them anymore. It was time to let the cats out of the box, if you'll pardon the pun. I'd built the box to have a little drawbridge so I could get in there with my camera. I loosened the tape and let it down. They retracted at first, scurrying into the nearest corner, but soon, with Lily's assistance, they emerged into the big, bright world of my office. Oh, there was so much to see. There were books and a desk and a chair and another chair and oh, what's that? I thought there was chaos before, but no. Chaos is sharing your office space with 5 curious kittens who are exploring anything and everything for the very first time. My life and theirs would never be the same.
Gaining deeper awareness. Well, in no time at all, the kittens settled into their expanded version of home. Some days I would return to what looked like an empty office and find them in a pile somewhere sleeping, under my recliner, on my bookcase, inside my desk, on the chancel stage. Where one went, the others followed. They were absolutely inseparable. When awake, they were unstoppable, running and jumping and tackling and climbing and swatting and all sorts of kitty-like fun. We all enjoyed learning the new ways that life had to offer this fun. It was everywhere and in everything. All we needed to do was wake up, venture out, and look for it. Thankfully, they tired quickly, and when they slept, I worked, sorta. Mostly, I looked forward to the next time they would venture out and discover something new to play with, like me.
Things are not always as they seem. Before the kittens were born, I put a gate in my office door to keep our dogs at bay. Sula, our 90-pound black-mouthed cur, was completely fascinated by the kittens and would lay just outside the gate watching them for hours. Every once in a while, I would see one of the kittens venture over there to get a look at her, but not often. One day I came home from yoga class and was not greeted by my dog, and this was odd indeed. I finally found her just outside my office in front of the stool I'd put there so Lily could jump in and out. Lo and behold, on top of the stool sat 4 of the 5 kittens. The little stinkers had climbed the gate and now faced a 90-pound menacing presence named Sula. Little did they know that Sula had a very keen mothering instinct. She was hugely protective of Lily as a kitten and again when she became pregnant. And now Sula had 5 more souls to watch over, but it probably didn't look that way to the kittens. Things aren't always as scary as they seem. Sometimes what appears to bring our life to a screeching halt is the very vehicle to safely usher us into a greater understanding of our ever-expanding world.
It's all about expansion. I kept all 5 kittens in my office until it was time for them to go to their new homes. I posted photos and stories and videos of them on social media, sharing what they had gotten into every day with my virtual community of friends. Little did I know that many, many people have been following those stories, resulting in all 5 having great homes to go to by the time they were 3 weeks old. Although I felt pretty good about that, having watched them bond and connect as deeply as they had, the idea of splitting them up broke my heart. Really, I'm not sure what was worse, separating them from each other or having them leave me. Both were really hard. I talked to them about moving away from our home and each other. I cut the blanket that they had slept on for their first 8 weeks into 5 small squares and packed a piece for each of them, along with a few familiar toys, food, and a disc with over 300 baby pictures. They had names now, given to them by their new families: Priscilla, Precious, Sky, Calla Lily, and George. George was to remain with us. But still, their new families were emailing and calling daily, hoping that today was the day I would let them go. It had to happen, but I so didn't want it to. I had promised the new families that once the kittens got to 8 weeks, they could be picked up. And on the day that happened, there was a long line of people smiling and laughing and lovingly taking the babies to their new homes. I knew each one of them was moving from the arms of love to the arms of love, as we so often do in life. That didn't help. In yoga class the next morning, I lay in meditation with tears streaming down my face. It was hard to breathe. Those little guys had given me so much life, and I knew that their purpose was to give that life to others. But still, it felt like I had been sucker punched.
Everyone updated me with photos of the kits in their new homes. They were still running and jumping and swatting things and all things kitten. It would be okay. George started venturing out of the office, with Lily and Sula showing him around and the great big world known as our house, then the patio, then the yard. Life's that way, I guess, always changing, always expanding, with fun and yips at every turn, if we watch for it. That's what I learned from the kittens. Any box can be fun if we want it to be. And there's more to life than this box. Before we begin our animal blessing, let us welcome all the animals who are at home, who live in our hearts, our memories, and the animals present with us today with this beautiful visual meditation slideshow.
Would you hold this? Just a second.
Thank you, Jasmine. So who's missing? Who wasn't in the slideshow today? I invite you to speak aloud the names of other animals you wish to acknowledge. It sounds like we have lots of furry, feathered, scaled, and skinned friends that hold us in community. And now let us bless the animals in our hearts and in our midst. I invite you to rise in body and or spirit and place your hand on your heart or on your animal companion for a moment of shared prayer from the Reverend Christine Robinson. Spirit of life, help us to remember that we live and work and love among the animals. Help us to be their friends, to love them and care for them and protect them from harm. To thank them when they use their lives for ours, especially this morning. Bless these animals who are the companions of our lives. Hear our outpouring of love and gratitude for them, and help us translate that into love and gratitude for all of your creatures. Let us share the blessing together. We share the earth with the animals. We celebrate who they are and all they give to this world. I promise to take care of the animals. I promise to offer my hand only in love and service. I pledge to be kind to all the animals I know. We bless these animals we love. You may be seated. May we continue to experience the love in our lives given to us by those we are also charged with caring for. I invite you after the postlude, when we go forth into the world, to bring that love with us, to let it renew and regenerate our spirits while also charging us to give that love to the world. May it be so.
Amen.
Meow. Meow.
Meow.
meow, 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 meow. Meow, 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 meow,
Ugh.